Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a late morning edition of Morning Coffee with Mike. Let me know how you guys are enjoying these later sessions. So far I'm loving them. Anyhow, today we are talking about books and traders that have influenced me the most. I spent my first 18 years trading part-time, and if it weren't for the people that we're going to talk about today, I would probably still be struggling, still trading part-time, and we wouldn't be here chatting. So I'd like to share these people with you and help you develop a curriculum for yourself, if you will. If you want to trade part-time and learn to trade part-time well, I think that approaching it from uh, an educational standpoint or a vocational standpoint where there's a curriculum that you need to learn, go off, get coaches, mentors, teachers, people to show you the ropes, and then be able to ease into it and build up your stake, build up your capital, learn what it is that you're doing. All of this is going to help you. So, with that said, let's get into the list here. All right. So, first up, we spoke about him a lot yesterday, William O'Neill. This is a fantastic book, How to Make Money in Stocks. I've read this at least a dozen times, have notes all over it. And I would recommend this book to anybody if you are trading stocks, if you're trading other things as well. If you're trading other asset classes, I think that How to Make Money in Stocks is great because O'Neill doesn't just talk about trading stocks. He's giving you the risk management, the trade management, identifying chart patterns, identifying models. You could take things like that and apply it to other areas as well. So if you're into growth stock investing, you're definitely going to want to pick up this one. And even if you're not, I still think that this one is super duper helpful. How to Make Money in Stocks by William O'Neill. Next up is Mark Minervini. Guys probably know all about Mark Minervini because, well, he wrote the foreword on my book, The Trading Mind Wheel, and he is all over Twitter. He has 500,000 people following him now, which is crazy. I've known him basically since he came on Twitter. I believe we're in 2011, and wow, this man is absolutely incredible. Mark Minervini, Think and Trade Like a Champion. He has multiple books. I highly recommend all of them. This one here happens to be my personal favorite. He goes into so many aspects of trading and the way that he's won multiple US investing championships. And you can see all the flags here. I changed my style of how I take notes in books from when I was going with O'Neill versus later on and studying and flagging everything and really destroying books. That's this is one that you're going to want to pick up. Think and Trade Like a Champion by Mark Minervini. If you're a fan of O'Neill, you're absolutely going to love Mark's work. He goes deeper. He talks about the finer details of chart patterns, the finer details of trade management, progressive exposure, so many important critical aspects to not only trading well, but to getting to championship level status and being able to do some of these things and do them at a part-time level. Yeah, he was always full-time, like all in on trading, but the methodologies can be applied part-time, which brings me to the next person. I'm actually going out of order on my list, but I'll mention him here, Nicolas Darvis. Now, I don't have a hard copy of his book. That's one that I ended up reading on Kindle, but Nicolas Darvis's How I Made $2 million in the Stock Market is a phenomenal read and a huge inspiration. And I'll tell you why he's a huge inspiration. Guy was trading back in the 50s and he was doing it part time. He wasn't a full time trader. He never aspired to be a full time trader, but he's considered to be one of the greats. And for a number of reasons. One, because he was able to uh, turn a small amount of capital into 2 million back in the 50s. That would be quite a bit more in today's money. But also, he shared his methodology, and there's remnants of his methodology that have worked his way into O'Neill, into Minervini, into my own style, looking for consolidations in growth stocks, stocks that'll lead in the market higher, getting into those, and then trading those stocks. But he did it all part time. He did it all part time. Darvis was a professional ballroom dancer that would travel the world, and he did not want to be bothered at all during the trading day. Actually threatened his broker a few times not to bother him during the trading day and to just send him the quotes after hours. So he's sitting there and he's plotting charts by hand and making millions doing so. Huge inspiration to me because if he's able to trade part-time back without the tech, we're able to do it now, and things have gotten easier over time. Less fees, quicker information, charts done for you. You don't have to draw a chart on graph paper. It's definitely become easier, more accessible. So pick up Nicolas Darvis's How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market. That one is a short book. It reads like a novel. All right. Next up is Van Tharp. Van Tharp, Super Trader. This is actually my second copy of this book. I ended up giving my original copy to somebody else, but this is another fantastic read. Tharp was the person that first introduced me to trading psychology. And he not only talks about trading psychology in this book, Super Trader, he also talks about risk management, treating your trading as a business and building a business model around your trading. So, for a lot of you out there that are watching, you're interested in entrepreneurship, you're going to love this book too, Super Trader. He talks about position sizing, risk management, all things that are absolutely critical to trading success. So, grab a copy of Van Tharp's Super Trader. Next, also trading psychology. Mark Douglas, another famous author, Trading in the Zone. That's another one that I've got on Kindle. Don't have the hard copy of it, but Mark Douglas is someone else that talks heavily about beliefs, talks heavily about mindset, talks heavily about how beliefs in other areas can affect certain actions, certain trading beliefs. So you might have a certain fear about money, let's say, that is holding you back from taking actions in a trade, right? The trading and money are very related. And if you have certain beliefs about money, it can influence your actions in trading. So that's a big reason why we want to dig into our beliefs, see what's there, see what might be limiting us, and then work to release those beliefs. And in trading in the zone, one of the things that Douglas talks about is that when we have a belief and we release a belief, right? Like, so let's just say trading is hard and we think that trading is very risky. We can release that belief. It's not where the belief is deleted. It's just that the energy is drawn out of that belief, and we can choose to use that belief in another way. We could keep it siloed and not think about it ever again. But it's not deleted. It's an interesting way to think about beliefs, especially if there's certain beliefs that you're in conflict about. So let's say that you got a belief from a parent, somebody that you respect very highly, and it turns out that that belief isn't serving you, and you have trouble letting it go because of the source. Well, the way that Douglas explains it, and the way that I've researched it and found this to be true, is that if we withdraw the energy from the belief in this way, that the belief is still there, but it doesn't have the same kind of hold over you. And that's powerful. Douglas goes into that deeply in his books, Trading in the Zone. Grab a copy of Trading in the Zone. Next is Adam Sarhan. Adam Sarhan just wrote a book called Psychological Analysis. This is another fantastic book. Clearly, I've marked the hell out of his book too. Um, Adam Sarhan is someone that I first learned about the term portfolio heat from. Never knew what portfolio heat was before Adam, but what portfolio heat is and what it refers to is your overall risk in your portfolio. So let's say that you put on one trade and you're risking 1% of capital in that one trade. Well, let's say that you've got 5 trades on. Each one of them you're risking 1%. Well, if all 5 trades all at once crap the bed, then guess what? You're out 5%. And we need to have an awareness of the portfolio heat, actively manage the portfolio heat. And what I do to help take things a step further is to manage the conditions in which I'm going to raise and lower heat. So look at the market conditions, look at the market mood, look at how trades are performing, look at my lists, all these kinds of things to help gauge the appropriate level of portfolio heat that I want to take. But it wasn't even a concept that I was aware of until I met Adam Sarhan. And uh, this whole book of psychological analysis is fantastic. Highly recommend reading this book and checking out Adam Sarhan. Adam's on Twitter. Next up, got a few more names on here too. He hasn't written a book yet, but he is a good personal friend. He was somebody that I was mentoring, and now he's a coach inside the Mara Elite program, Stuart Chalmers. It's been amazing watching his trading journey and watching him grow. And I've personally learned so much from him as he's grown, what things that he shared. For example, one of the things that he likes to do is to weigh out danger signals, right? I talk about danger signals in my own book, The Trading Mind Wheel. Danger signals is a concept where you're identifying things that are going wrong in a trade. And if there are a certain number of danger signals that are occurring in a trade, then it can prompt an action. But if you're weighing danger signals, then it helps psychologically as well. So, for example, let's say that you're in a trade and the trade has a particularly bad day. It closes at its lows. It was up, it closes at the lows. Days like that used to freak me out. If we have a mechanism, however, to weigh the danger signals, it might just be that that's the only thing that's wrong on that day. That's the only danger signal. It just closed at its lows. Big deal. But if you see 7, 8, 9 danger signals all piling up, then that's something that would prompt you to take action. Now, what are some danger signals, right? Danger signals can be whatever you find important in your trading. It's not that there's some kind of magic danger signal thing that everybody should be following. It's uh, something that it's a concept that can be incorporated into any system, and you can figure out, well, what's a danger signal to you. If you're trading only fundamentally based, then you don't care what happens on the chart. And if you're trading only technically based, you don't care what's happening in the fundamentals or in the news. I outline all of the danger signals that I take inside the trading mind wheel and go into that concept a lot deeper. Next, second to last is Jesse Livermore. Now, I actually talk about Jesse Livermore a bit in the Trading Mind Wheel. The book, he actually wrote a book, How to Trade in Stocks, not to be confused with O'Neill's work, How to Make Money in Stocks. And he was also mentioned in a book, or the book doesn't mention him specifically, but it was written about his life, called Reminiscences of a Stock Operator by Edwin Lefreve. Hopefully, I didn't butcher his last name, but that book is amazing and it reads like a novel, relatively short, uh, by telling the story in the way that it does. It allows you to see inside his mind and experience the types of things that he was experiencing. And that's a great way to understand the psychology and the emotion of the highs and lows of trading. Fantastic book. Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. And finally, the last influence, top trading influences. There's so many influences, but I'm giving you the top ones. I've given you 8 so far. Number 9, Stan Weinstein's Secrets to Profiting in Bull and Bear Markets. This is another fantastic read, especially if you are a trend follower, if you are a swing trader. He talks about stage analysis in this book. So, understanding when a stock is basing or a market is basing, when a stock is in an uptrend, how to identify uptrends, how to identify tops, how to identify, well, when it's getting ready to decline, and certain rules that he observed and researched and quantified in this book that can help you see these transitions. This book was a great addition when I was first reading O'Neill. I actually read this first and then found out about Mark Minervini later on. This is a fantastic book. He's also a big influence on Mark Minervini. So if you were a fan of Mark's, then you're absolutely going to love Stan Weinstein's Secrets for Profiting in Bull and Bear Markets. So we've got a lot of books here, right? We've got a pretty big stack of books here for you to start your reading, plus a few others that I mentioned that I have uh, as ebooks. Again, those were Trading in the Zone and Nicolas Darvis's How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market, and Edwin Lefreve's Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. All those fantastic, fantastic reads, plus all the other ones that were hard copies. Again, all right here. Let those be your curriculum, your must reads. And then you can, as you have questions about them, reach out to me, because I've read and studied each of these and wrote one of them myself. So, those are the top trading influences that I had that helped me to be able to get to the level of success where I was able to not only trade successfully part-time and to trade part-time well for many years and not do it where I'm stressed out and uh, doing it at inappropriate times, but to do it pretty leisurely, like as leisure as somebody that's passionate about trading can possibly be, but to do it in a stress-free way and to be able to build up the capital to be able to say goodbye to the day job and to be doing this full time. I'll open up the floor to questions. Let's see what questions have come in while I was on that rant there. Get your questions in. Now's the time. Questions. If you have questions on any of the books or anything that we spoke about already, put that in first, and then we'll do the full-on open Q&A. Mr. Chrome says that he's a beginner. Uh, the reason why, or one of the people that I wrote my own book for, The Trading Mind Wheel, is to give beginners like yourself a blueprint for trading. Like, so to learn the different skill sets that you need to learn. All the books that we discussed today are all fantastic, but not that they mention different parts of trading in different areas, and what I thought would be very helpful would be to put the skills that you need to learn about in one book, and to explain why and how they've influenced me, and to give you guys a head start on learning those skills. So you could start with mine and get all these other ones here, right? Just this could be a workout here, just lifting the stack of books. All right. What other questions you guys have? What's a good book to read when you are in the boom and bust stage of the trading journey? Great question. So that's a psychological question. So aside from my own book, because we go deep into psychology in my book and trading beliefs and how to get yourself out of the boom and bust cycle, I would also recommend Super Trader by Van Tharp. I would recommend Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. And he also has another book, Mark Minervini, called Mindset Secrets for Winning. I've got it on the back shelf over there. Mindset Secrets for Winning is another fantastic trading psychology related book. Uh, Everything that Mark has written is fantastic, but those are, well, what did I say? Four solid books that can help you out quite a bit. Yeah, really, I think that the Trading Mind Wheel is probably the one that I would recommend most. Admittedly, I'm kind of biased, but when you're in a boom and bust cycle, there could be a number of reasons why. It could be psychologically based. It's always going to be belief based, where our beliefs control our actions, and they control how we respond, how we feel about certain things, emotions, all of that. So the book goes into that, and it's also going to share with you the different skills to build. And in building skills and developing your skills, that's how you would get yourself out of the boom and bust cycle. So the Trading Mind Wheel, grab that. How do you handle a losing streak? The way that I handle a losing streak is to expect it. The way that I handle a losing streak is to track my stats, to know the statistics of the system that I am trading. So, for example, when I started out and I was reading O'Neill, and I was later on learning about Minervini and learning their systems, part of what I learned about was what's the win rate. Not just what the win rate, but what's the average gain and all those types of statistics. If I went in expecting a 100% batting average, or a 95% batting average, or even a 70% batting average, then I would have been very disappointed. The reason why is because my expectations didn't match the reality. Mark is about a 50-50 hitter. O'Neill is similar. You only need to win 50% of the time when your gains are about 2 to 1, 3 to 1, like it is for them. Knowing your stats is very important. Knowing the stats of your system is very important. One of the things that I talk about in my own book, The Trading Mind Wheel, is how to track your stats. Journaling is an important skill. That's why it's one of the first things that we talk about. First, we talk about mindset, then we talk about journaling, because how you're going to track your stats, how you're going to track the stats of the system that you're trying to learn or to trade, is paramount. That sets the expectation, and that's how I would deal with a losing streak. Because if I am developing myself in all the different skills that are needed for trading, and if I'm executing the systems well, following the rules, then the The only thing that's left is that, well, it's a market condition, and I can know what types of market conditions are good for my system, what types aren't, what's normal, what's a normal losing streak versus what's an abnormal losing streak. And we even give a formula for how to calculate your an expected losing streak in the trading mind wheel. If you are batting about 50%, then over any 100 trades, you should expect a losing streak of 8 trades in a row. How can you know that? Stats, formulas, it's all there. Let's see, what other questions do you guys have? That was a great question. Appreciate it. Someone's asking me to check my DMs. I'll go and check the DMs when we hop off. There's a lot of DMs that get ignored. I get a lot of DMs for advertising. I get a lot of spam. I do answer DMs that are legit because I get a lot of those too. A lot of great questions do come in from DMs. But if you're soliciting, that's getting ignored. Love from India. I love from New York. Right back at you. Any other questions as we scroll through here? How can I get started with reading and becoming a good trader? You start by starting. Just pick up the book and start. Uh, Another thing that you could do is to block out time for reading. Right? Sometimes it can come down to making it a priority. One of the ways that I make things a priority is to block out time on my calendar. That's how I know that something is going to get done. When I was trading part-time and I was working in Manhattan and I would need to commute back home, my study time, my reading time would be on the train, would be on the subway. Then later on at night. So I would block out time, do those things. Indicators for options trading, there's no best indicator. It's really uh, start with your system. And you don't need no one needs to create a system from scratch. There's plenty of great systems out there. Model that system first. See what the creator of that system is doing. If you're following O'Neill, O'Neill only used a handful of moving averages. That's it. Looked at price, looked at volume, looked at a handful of moving averages. That's it. Didn't want anything else. You don't need a ton of fancy indicators, but what you do need is to understand the system that you're trading, what indicators that person is using, and more importantly, why. YouTube lessons or books, which is the best learning about trading? Do both. Do both. Do what style. Well, we all learn in different ways. Some of us like to read books, some of us like to listen to audiobooks, some of us like to watch videos, some of us like to be coached and mentored. Personally, I'll tell you what worked for me. I started when things started to turn the corner for me. I was reading books. Then, when I started to learn more about O'Neill, I found out that they had meetup groups and that they had a meetup group that was local to me. I went there, and when I started to get immersed with a whole bunch of people, that's when I started to develop and to develop rapidly. So, bottom line, figure out the style that's going to work best for you. For most people, immersion is the route to go. If you want speed, speed up the learning curve. And that's why that Honestly, that's why I built my program to help people that want that immersion. Which book should we read that explains good candle psychology? Good candle psychology? So, candles are technical analysis. You could think of them as the psychology behind it. None of the people that I mentioned here, nor do I really use candlesticks. The person that I started to learn candlesticks from, when I was entertaining the idea of trading forex, was Akil Stokes and Jason Greystone. Both of them are on Twitter. Both of them are on Instagram. Both of them have a fabulous program. I would recommend checking them out. We're coming up to the very end here. Gonna have to hop off. And someone was asking about, yeah, well, we'll end with this one. Why do we need technical analysis if the market is random? That's a very interesting question. So you're suggesting that number one, the market is random, and questioning whether we need some other tool because you already believe that the market is random. So do you believe that the market is random, or do you believe that it can be timed? If you believe that it's random, then maybe you don't need technical analysis. In Super Trader and in some of his other works, Van Tharp talks about position sizing and coming up with a winning system based solely on position sizing and random entry. So while it's not efficient at all, you can come up with a winning system that doesn't use technical analysis. So if you think that technical analysis is garbage, then don't waste your time with it. I've personally found it to be extremely helpful for gauging market conditions, gauging market direction, identifying low risk, high reward entries, managing risk. There's a lot of great applications for technical analysis, but if you believe that it's garbage, then you won't be able to execute on it unless if you go and you change the belief. I think that's a good place to stop. It was great chatting with you guys again. I'm loving this new time at 11:30. We'll be back here again tomorrow at 11:30. And what are we talking about tomorrow? Well, let's see. I wrote this out. Ah, how I became a full-time trader, how I was able to turn a little bit into half a mil in 8 years and use that to be able to leave the day job behind and to trade full time. So we'll be discussing that tomorrow. So join us again live at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then. Take care. Much love. Peace out, everybody.